So you want to play Hunter, huh? Well, let me tell you about Hunter. Hunter is a triple-wielding absolute monster of a class that does not understand the concept of death. Every damage source in this game is just something for hunters to laugh about and other classes to cry about. Everything we do as hunters is for one purpose: look directly at the monster and smash it with big numbers. Now that pretty much summarizes the class, so let's go and break it down. Hunter has access to 3 distinctively different weapons, and each of them have 3 photon arts. First, we have Sword. If you enjoy swinging giant weapons, then this is the weapon for you. Sword comes with Spiral Edge, a chargeable vertical slash, Twisting Zapper, a chargeable photon art where you let it rip, and Caliber Street, a 3-stage chargeable photon art with extremely high damage, but no mobility. On top of this, you have your weapon art, which allows you to block attacks. Next, we have Wired Lance. This is a crazy weapon with insane AoE damage, but also allows it to fly around like a deadly missile. Wired Lance contains Cutting Layer, a multi-hit slash in front of you, Vein Mixture, multiple spins that let you roleplay as a Beyblade, and Turbulent Train, a vertical slash that helps you hit targets above and below you on Wired Lance. Holding forward while doing Turbulent Train will move you more vertical, while having no movement input will make you stay still in place. And finally, we have Partisan. If you are a fan of decimating your foes with rapid strikes and long reach, then this is the weapon for you. Partisan features Cleaving Sight, a strong single target slash that explodes if you finish the animation. Fatal Tornado, a multi-hit attack which when charged changes the ender from a second spinning slash into a cleave. And finally, Thrusting Javelin, a holdable thrust where you repeatedly thrust, ending in a spear throw. You can also tap Thrusting Javelin to do a singular thrust, which allows you to instantly throw the Partisan as well. So that was a lot of information, so let me break down which weapon might be the fit for you. If you enjoy counters, methodical gameplay, and a jack of all trades, then you may prefer Sword. If you enjoy dealing high amounts of AoE damage, flying through the skies, and in general, whipped blades, then Wired Lance may fit your playstyle. And finally, if you enjoy high burst phases, fast aggressive gameplay that allows you to stick to your enemy and stabbing random enemies, you may enjoy Partisan. So now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about the skill point distribution. Now, because Hunter is very versatile, technically you could specialize in solely only one weapon alone. Personally, because I am making this guide and I love having multiple options, this is my skill tree. There are 20 total skill points currently in New Genesis, so what I did was put 1 point into everything. Hunter Physique should be left at 1 out of 5 though, because it's already good enough and it does not get that much better. Extra points you have which you do not use, however, assuming you don't want to use a hunter weapon, should be allocated towards Flash Guard. Now, in the skill tree you may see I have 1 point in Warcry. This was to see if Warcry had any realistic uses, and the answer I came to was no. So please comment down below if you found a use for Warcry, by the way, because I honestly would love to know. Now let me break down the most important skills you should know about Hunter. Hunter Physique is basically invincibility mode for 30 seconds if you have Hunter as a main class. This gives you effectively 50% damage reduction for being a main class Hunter and 95% damage reduction if Hunter is your subclass. It also prevents knockback or launches, which is extremely good. Next, we have Iron Will, which is locked to the main class only. Iron Will allows you to prevent death once every 180 seconds when Hunter is your main class, but this skill does not apply as a subclass. And finally, we have Hunter Arts Avenge, which allows you to increase your photon art damage when you are hit while executing a Hunter photon art. I also mentioned Warcry earlier, which taunts all enemies around you. However, personally, I would ignore the skill for now until something is added that makes it good, or if people actually find a use to make it good. So now, let me tell you about my thoughts and theory crafting on Hunter. Hunter overall is an extremely versatile class that accommodates all types of playstyles. As a subclass, Hunter allows you to use pretty much its whole kit, minus Iron Will and Warcry. So realistically, you're losing nothing. Now, if I was to rank the Hunter weapons based on my testing, Sword takes the cake by a long shot. It's extremely easy to get into while also performing at a pretty high level. The counter on Sword has such an insane amount of iframes that allows you to completely ignore multiple hit attacks while also dealing a lot of damage due to Sword's counter plus. Next on the list would be Wired Lance, which has unrivaled AoE in the Hunter skill set, but more importantly, it also gives you an incredible amount of mobility through the weapon action. And finally, Partisan, which from my testing performs like a slightly lesser sword but is also less forgiving as well. It also has Bulk Raptor, a skill on Partisan which allows you to shoot a spear onto the target that accumulates 50% of your damage until it explodes. This skill unfortunately does have a 60-second cooldown, which pretty much leaves it to burst phases. So overall, my recommendation for playing Hunter would be to primarily focus on Sword as a jack-of-all-trades weapon, use Wire Lance for your AoE or mobility needs, and if you really want to use Partisan, you can learn it, just understand there is a steeper learning curve versus going full Oonga Boonga with Sword. In terms of Photon art rotation, I have found Sword's Spiral Edge to be an extremely versatile move which can be used for both burst and sustained damage. Twisting Zapper on Sword can be used as a movement tool while also dealing some damage. And finally, Caliber Streak is definitely the go-to move if you are able to pull it off without being hit, or if it is a break and downed phase. From Wired Lance though, Vein Mixture and the weapon action are my two go-to AoE moves. Vein Mixture allows you to PP dump, while Wire Lance's weapon action, if you hold it down, allows it to hit everything around you while also regenerating PP. On the Partisan side, I have found much success using Cleaving Scythe, which allows you to basically set up Assault Charge, which is initiated by using the weapon action after a Photon art. Assault Charge has massive amounts of iframes on release, leading it to a pretty nice skill overall. However, it is harder to pull off versus Sword's block counter. On top of this, the Partisan's counter damage is also slightly lackluster. However, this may be remedied later on in the winter update when we obtain some more class skills. Now, personally for me, I mainly focused on Sword due to how easily accessible it was and how high the damage was. If you are a Partisan main, however, and you've discovered some cool techniques to pull off, please comment down below about the tech you've discovered because I am actually very interested in that. For me personally, I basically played Partisan as a more aggressive sword by using Assault Charge to iframe through attacks. Anyways, that pretty much completes the Hunter guide. Overall, you won't really go wrong by choosing Hunter as your main class or subclass, and as a complete TLDR for this guide, pick the skills for the weapons you want to use on Hunter. Completely ignore Warcry, leave Hunter Physique at 1 out of 5, and put the rest of your points into Flash Guard. In terms of weapon choice, all three are viable, and my preference is more towards Sword due to its forgiving but high damage encounter and very versatile Photon arts. So that pretty much concludes the video. Thank you all for watching, and I appreciate every single one of you. If you have any questions or comments, comment down below. I try to read and reply to everything, so I can take your feedback and help improve the content. Also, I usually do my social media plugs here, but I want to take the time to say thank you everyone. We've recently gotten so much support for the channel and it's honestly surreal. Thank you every single one of you, and I hope that you all have a great day and enjoy the future content I'm making. This is Casual Gamer Corvus from Everydere, and I'll see you Saturday with the Ranger Guide, ideally.